Hi everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth in Story, and I'm just here actually to do a quick video just because I found myself doing something that I used to always do accidentally or mindlessly, or just without even thinking about it, rolled into something that I did a lot of. And I thought I would share this with you as a way of a possible way to meditate if meditating seems overwhelming to you. So I've had a lot of people off of other videos say, when I've mentioned meditation, because I did meditate for a long time. I was very much, meditation was a very strong part of my practice for many years as I walked from a Buddhist philosophy and studied Buddhism for a very long time. I studied also and meditated a lot. But I am one of these people who do not meditate to attempt to have a blank slate mind. It's impossible for me. Possibly not impossible, but it's very difficult for me, and it only causes stress to attempt that. And so the meditation that I did was where you simply touched on. So if a thought comes to your mind, you touch on it, you label whatever it is, and then you go back to your breathing or whatever it is you're doing to meditate with your beads or whatever you might be doing. Another thought comes, you touch on it, oh, that's a thought, and you go back to what you were doing. And you just, eventually the thoughts thin out a little bit, and you just get comfortable just touching them and releasing and going on whatever it is you're doing. But I do find for meditation that using something as in mala beads, as I have a video about, and I will put a link to that in the description box below. This is a full set that I made for myself, and then I also have a smaller set that I made for myself. But again, I put that in there's a whole video on what I do with those in the description linked below. I do better when I have something like beads or such to do rather than just sitting there. And so mala beads are one of the ways in which you can use that to meditate. And I'll check that video out if you didn't get to see that. But another great way to meditate is through knitting. Now, I have knit for a very long time, so obviously if you are comfortable with knitting, it is, all the more easier, but not necessarily to meditate with it, but not really, because the whole point is to have something to focus on. So if you are focusing on the in and out of the breath, that's what you'll focus on. If you're focusing going bead to bead, it allows your brain to have something to focus on. If you're focusing on each stitch that you make as you knit, that becomes a form of meditation. Everything. I love that Thich Nhat Hanh always talks about how, everything we do is a form of meditation. Walking meditation, doing dishes is a form of meditation. Repetitious tasks, repetitious movements can all be a form of meditation and can bring us down when there's a lot of stress involved, right? And so we've been talking about how many of us are going through a stressful time. It's the holidays. Some people are just stressed because it's the holidays. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to get done. I can't stop. I can't sit down and relax, right? Some of us are in the grieving process of different stages of the grieving process. And are having to cope with those things at the holidays, and so our brains can be on active overdrive. And so finding a way to bring things down can be very, very helpful. And one of the ways, I have this book, and I could not find it for the life of me. I have it here somewhere, and I dug around a little bit. Let me show you the cover of it. So this is a book called Mindful Knitting, inviting contemplative practice to the craft with 10 practical projects for all skill levels. This is a great book. I've had it for a really long time, and I really enjoy this because there's nothing hard here, because you want something that's actually quite easy and quite repetitious, so that's very helpful. And so, but I wanted to read this one right here. I can find it. I had it, and then I wanted to show you. The act of knitting is inherently built on the formation of a stitch, a single stitch, the creation of fabric. When we knit, we place our attention over and over again on the natural rhythm of creating fabric from yarn. Insert needle, wrap yarn, pull through a new stitch, repeat. Following this simple, repetitive action is the basis of contemplative practice. It continually reminds us to stay focused, to stay in the moment. When we knit with this attention, we have an almost indescribable feeling of satisfaction and contentment. This is knitting as meditation. And so the whole book is fantastic. You can actually pick it up on Amazon for like $2.53, I think it showed, for a physical copy. Let me go back here. So it talks about meditation and mindfulness, the basics of mindfulness. It talks about knitting as meditation. It talks about garter stitch scarf, an easiest thing you can possibly do. Washcloths, easy things, a blanket. I did lots and lots of hats, because hats you can make and then donate to, like Michael's floor of the hematology floor at the hospital, because of course it was for children with cancer mostly. Michael didn't have cancer, but he had bone marrow failure, and so it was in that section. And so there was always a chest in the waiting room, a big wooden chest, and it was filled with hats that people donated, and kids that were coming there could simply, look through the hats for something that they liked and be able to take a hat out and take a hat with them. So I knit a lot of hats, and then my grandmother did the same thing. You can just give them to the donate them to, there's different charities online. There's also charities or your local hospital you can contact, because a lot of times the oncology floors take hat donations. And what an amazing way to A, meditate, and B, be able to then give that over to somebody else in order to kind of pass that energy on. I just have this scarf out here because this was a scarf that I started when Michael was going to be going into, going to be going into a very big operation to try to fix his spine. And so I wanted bright colors and I wanted patterns, a kind of move changing pattern, without having to think much. So the color is built in this variegated yarn. And so I started that, and then the surgery didn't go through. He had a real big problems at the get-go, and so it had to be stopped. And that was when he was sent home for palliative care for a couple years before he passed. I knit on this a little bit during that time, but I knit at the hospital, and then a little bit during the time he was in palliative care, but I only had about half of this finished when he was passed, and the year after he had passed, I finished working on this in little bits and bobs. When I could get my brain to still enough to do it, I ended up finishing this afterwards. And so yeah, so this encompasses all kinds of energy and all kinds of memories into this one single project, but it was used as a way of trying to focus my brain down in very difficult circumstances. What made me start to think, reminded me of this, is that what I would do with the hats, if I was making a hat to donate, which this is a scarf, or this is going to be a big cowl. I've made one for Katie already, a gray one, but I started this brown one for myself, and she fell in love with it, so I wanted to finish it. And so what I started doing is I literally was just sitting down and I was knitting, and without even thinking about it, or without even thinking about it, I just started to do, may she be well, right? May she be safe. May she be protected. May she be pleased and content, right? May her body support her. May her life unfold smoothly with ease. That is a meditation. If you watch the video that I have below, I talk about it more and give links to where you can see how that's done. And so I would do this with hats. And so with each stitch, and so you can even write it. I wrote this out so you could see, because you can say, may I be well, may she be well, whoever you're doing it for. And that can just be sitting there until you actually know it, right? And so in each of the stitch, may she be well. Maybe she be safe and protected, right? May she be pleased and content. I'm probably going to mess this up because I'm now not watching what I'm doing. May she feel pleased and content. May her body support her. It's hard to do this, and whoops. May her life unfold smoothly with ease. Right? I'm going to have to check all these to make sure I do it right. And you just keep doing that. I wasn't even thinking about it. May she be well. May she be safe and protected. May she feel pleased and content. Content. I'm sitting at a weird angle to knit. May her body support her. May her life unfold smoothly and with ease. And I would just do that around and around. Of course, you get, when you're not saying it out loud and you're just going for it, you can go quicker and quicker with it. But by the end of making of a hat or of making a scarf or something for another person, not only have you done meditation for yourself and probably zoned yourself down, but you've also created something, right? Which the act of creation is always an amazing thing. And not only that, when you give that to them or you donate that particular hat for somebody, all of that intention is placed within that item. And what an amazing thing to give. May she be well. May she be safe and protected. May she feel pleased and content. May her body support her. May her life unfold smoothly and with ease. And you can say anything you want to say. You can just, may she be well, may she be well, may she be well, may she be well. May they, if you don't know who it's going to be, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to say or do, that's just simply what I have always done. May she be well. May she be safe and protected. May she feel pleased and content. May her body support her. May her life unfold smoothly with ease. And you can just go around and around and around and around, or depending on what you're making, right? I like to do round things. This is knit in the round, so there's really no beginning or ending. I just keep going around and around and around and around until I run out of yarn, and it's just knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. So it's just a very simple thing, but it makes a beautiful seed stitch pattern. So this is literally the shortest little video, just to, because I was doing it without even thinking, and I thought, that's a good suggestion. So if you watch about meditation or about mala beads, the video there, if you haven't already seen that, that will give you a little bit more information. And then you just simply take that process that you would do with beads or with watching your breath, and you apply that to each of those stitches so that you're mindfully stitch by stitch, creating something for yourself, as in calming you down and centering you, creating an object, and then if you give that to somebody, you're giving them all of that beautiful energy that you've placed into that product. So what a beautiful way to practice. And there are a bazillion books and videos on how to knit and that kind of thing. If that's not something that you do, crochet works the same way, anything like that. And I just thought, I'm going to go ahead and stick this up there as a suggestion, both for meditation and as a way to kind of put out good energy for somebody that you love. So I hope that you find this interesting and useful, and I wish you much love over the holidays, and regardless of how you accomplish it, I hope that you take a little bit of time to be able to take a breath and zone down in the hecticness of the holidays.